What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Montana Method Podcast with your host, as always, Nelson Rodriguez Jr. Today, I have a very special guest, a dear friend of mine I've known for over a decade. Wow, yeah, time flies. Good friend of mine. We went to war together back in our old sales, direct sales days, and we became men through that school. And we learned a lot. We developed ourselves in that area. We went our separate ways after that. And I always say that whoever does some sort of personal development and applies it in their life becomes a very different human being. And this is something that this gentleman has been able to do to perfection. He's built a massive company that we're going to get into later. And I have a lot of respect for him. I reconnected with him recently, and we're going to go over what he's been up to and the reasons I personally admire and respect him. So my good friend, Wilfredo Vazquez.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
What's up, bro?
How you doing, brother?
¿Qué me cuenta?
Ahí, luchando. You know how it is.
It's a pleasure to have you in the Montana Mountain, as I call this place.
Pleasure's all mine, brother.
Lugre?
Appreciate the invite.
No, of course. I always say that this is a space for dream chasers. This is a space for people who are going after something in their life. And you're going after it, brother. You know what I mean? So this is more an homage to what humans are capable of than anything else. Like, I just feel like I'm paying homage to the people who are really putting it out there, putting their all they have on the line, as we say, you know what I mean? They're like just giving it all you got, and you're doing that, bro. You're doing that, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, you pay homage to kings, you know? And
yeah,
I wouldn't quite call myself a king. Only Jesus is king, but, you know, I appreciate that you having that sentiment towards me. That means a lot.
Definitely, bro. So what's a typical day in the life of Wilfredo Vazquez? Tell me. Porque I've heard it's pretty entertaining and hectic and chaotic.
It can be. You know, the hustle never stops, you know, especially in sales. You know, we used to do sales back in the days, and you know what that kind of sales was like.
Yeah,
it's very similar, where you're still kind of chasing, but I'm not chasing people that don't have the drive anymore. I'm chasing business owners that, you know, want to improve on their business. And that's really what sets it apart. Chasing people that actually want to make a difference and improve on their business, and I'm able to have a product that's able to do that. So very excited to be able to bring it to market.
That's awesome, man. So a little background for the audience. Wilfredo's in the merchant services industry. He has a credit card processing service that he offers to the market. It's called Ireland Pay, as you can see. And they're doing big things. He started off I met him before the company was even formed. I met him before he was ever a business owner. And to see him go from inception to where he is now, is very impressive, very impressive. What would you say, like, what was one of the major things that you took from, like, back in the sales days when we were grinding? What's a major thing that you could attribute to, like, all right, this I implemented, and if I would have never implemented this, like, things wouldn't have worked out?
It's not so much implemented, just something that you learn. You know, I had never done sales per se. I'd always been in healthcare. I was a lifeguard, a medic, and then a nurse. Nothing to do with sales. My first real exposure to hardcore sales was when we did the Harlem thing. And I really saw what it was, and the structure worked, but it just was an inferior product. So I said, man, if I can apply this to a good product, a good service that actually provides savings or a benefit, then this can skyrocket. And that's really where the idea came from. Again, being exposed to hardcore sales and just hardcore determination. Because, you know, in order to make it work in network marketing, you're going to be pushed beyond your limits. And that's something that I noticed early on, and I stuck with it. And I learned what being determined was and what kind of grind you have to put in to be able to be successful. So I just took that recipe and I applied it over here, brother, and it's been, again, with a good product, sky's the limit. So a good product, good backing, good team. We're taking it to the next level. We recently won an award as one of the up-and-coming ISOs, independent sales offices, so very excited about that. And, yeah, making it happen. That's it, brother. But if I can, you know, just to kind of put it all together for you, the one thing that I did take away from the sales we did back in the days was the level of determination you have to be successful. That was imprinted in me. You can't half-ass anything. you're gonna get half-assed results. So,
Bro, you know what I live by to this day that we heard back in the day, and it's burned into my brain, bro. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
preach.
Now, you know what's funny? I can't walk into a bathroom and see the toilet all dirty and pissed on. I can't. I have to clean it, and I have to make sure the trash is because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, bro.
Absolutely. I remember, and this is a cliche you hear around, but I came through Carl. I forget who asked him the question, about success, and he says, "Do all you can, all the time, every time." I don't know if I'm saying that quite right, but that stuck with me. Do all you can, all the time, every time. And let me tell you, for years in the beginning, it's very hard to be successful in our industry because it's a slow grind. You know? The average account will pay you maybe $30, $50 a month. So to get to numbers that can obviously cover your bills or your overhead, it takes a grind. It's already a highly solicited industry, so it takes a lot of hustle to be able to make yourself successful. Once you do, it's passive income and it's beautiful. But I would kind of have that on repeat in my mind. Do all you can, all the time. And 7 o'clock, most people are going home, and I'm like, you know what? Let me hit a networking event. Or let me make another call. And I just never quite felt at ease with hanging the gloves up for the day. I just always felt like I was leaving something undone, and that feeling still persists, even though some would say I'm successful today, but for me it's just scratching the surface. That small. Let me do one more. Just one more.
Let me see what else I can do. Let me make one more phone call.
One more appointment.
That's what separates second place from the winners, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And in a big way,
and not being satisfied.
Yes.
Not being satisfied. That's one thing I just wasn't. I would put in a 14, 16-hour day and go home and not be satisfied. And I'd be looking at my meal like, man, let me send this one email. That still persists with me today. Some people say it's unhealthy, but I don't know, man, that's just the way that I do it. I like to do it. It's for me, I'd rather not reward myself until I've completed the task,
Now, we definitely live in a microwave mentality age where everything is like, oh, no, right now. So to be able to be a person that does the opposite, and it's like, all right, no, I don't deserve to go out and drink with my buddies right now. It's been a slow week. I haven't put in any work. No, this Saturday, I need to go out and let me make these phone calls. Let me meet these people. It takes a certain type of person, a certain type of mental consciousness, being aware of where you're at mentally.
And discipline too, bro. Yeah. The party's always there.
And in Miami, forget about it, bro.
At least, but having that discipline and just one thing that I've had to change. I had that microwave mentality, but when I first started this, I joined a networking group called BNI, Business Network International, very very famous. And it's great. One thing they taught me was that farming over hunting mentality, where you're kind of farming out your relationships and just planting those seeds and building that relationship before you start seeing some real referrals or the benefits of it.
Right.
And I applied that concept. When a concept stands out, I try to hold on to it. And a farming or hunting mentality over everything, where I started to learn how to build a sales pipeline. Again, sales. I learned that hardcore sales, but learning how to be a true salesman,
right?
It takes time. It takes time, and you wanting to learn, building a sales pipeline, understanding just overall sales, personality types, all that good stuff. It takes time. It takes time, and to make it just natural, where during a sale, you make it natural. It's more of a conversation,
right,
than an actual sales pitch, and that takes time to develop that skill. So that's one thing. Another thing that I was able to really, I don't want to say master, but got a whole lot better at farming over hunting. Huge.
Yeah, there's who was it that said Jim Rohn, the seasons, right? When he talks about sowing the seed, putting in he talks about, he compares spring, summer, fall, and winter, and he talks about the seasons of the year like seasons of life. I don't know if you remember that.
I've learned so much from Jim Rohn. That's one of my favorite guys to listen to.
I still listen to his audios to this day.
Oh, he's awesome, man. Yeah.
You know what irritates? This is funny. I was going to do a separate episode for this, but we'll do it now. It irritates me that so much of these online gurus and all these, you know what I'm talking about, bro. Yeah. They're all like, yeah.
Especially with the platforms now, everybody.
Yeah, no, todo mundo, everybody's an expert, right?
Everybody.
And all of them are like, yeah, you got to plant the seed.
For sure.
Or they'll whoop out the, you can carry 3 on your back, but you can't, 1,000. Like you can help 1,000, but you can't carry. And it's like, bro,
it's all regurgitated. It's all
What a bunch of swagger jackers,
really
bro.
It really is. And let me tell you this: that original text comes from Proverbs, as it is.
It does.
So,
it does.
It's funny how that works. When I really started getting, closer to Christ, I started, read Proverbs. It's my favorite book. A lot of wisdom. I would say 99.9% of the wisdom see out there, is even worth listening to, will come from there. And not in so many words, reworded, repackaged, and kind of to fit whatever your specific industry is or whatever you're trying to attain. Right. But for the most part, it's coming from there. So Swagger Jagger 101.
No, but bueno, at least Jim Rohn admitted. He would be like, no, he would admit, this is on the Bible, or this is, he would always admit.
Well, he made it practical. He made it kind of like he adopted it for the new age. He gave credit where credit was due. So that's what I love about it.
I just saw it today, bro, where the guy's like, oh, my 5 rules of life. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And you're 5
rules. 20 years old. It's 5 rules.
Oh man, you know what's funny? I've been to so many of these workshops. Like I've done the Tony Robbins and I've done the Grant Cardone. I've done a bunch of them. One that I regret that I was never able to do was Jim Rohn, bro, because he passed away even before we started the sales day. He passed away like in 2008. It would have been crazy to see that guy live, man, because you're talking about that guy's. How much business do you think that guy's responsible for? Like, how many companies were inspired by him?
Correct.
Like. Tony Robbins.
Just Tony Robbins.
There's just Tony Robbins alone, and then you have like Darren Hardy, and you have Puripa. He was Ray Kroc, McDonald's personal mentor.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mary Kay, personal mentor. Oprah, Puripa. Like I could make a list of like the amount of people that say Jim Rohn was my mentor, and it's like an astonishing list, bro.
I never even knew that. That's awesome,
bro.
Man. No, it just solidifies things more. It's just more confirmation. The guy's a badass.
No, badass.
No, man, anything that he says is pure gold. Anything that he says. I like the way he talks. That little
the little, yeah.
Oh,
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Whenever people approach me and they're like, man, what do you recommend? I tell them, how many books have you read? No, none. How many courses have you taken? None. I told them, all right, start with Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn.
Because Tivo is like it's like like baby food, like
bro.
This is the, he didn't graduate college, like he went to like 1 semester of college.
I believe it.
It's crazy, bro.
He's big fan of that. Not
definitely
taking the entrepreneur route, and just kind of earning. Pay yourself first. Just all those principles that you start to really take into account. Passive income, all that good stuff.
Definitely.
Asset-or liabilities, just that Robert Kiyosaki 101.
Yeah.
So beautiful, man.
What is something, a book or a course that you took that really hit home for you? What's something that you really like?
Let me tell you, I learned a lot in BNI. Just dealing, because in BNI there's I don't know if you know how it works. Do you have any experience with it? So it's amazing because obviously you have all types of different professions, and it's category exclusivity. So it's that one. So I learned a lot. Again, it was like a crash course in how to. Well, when I first started, brother, I didn't even know how to send a calendar invite. Oh, how do you
crazy.
What? Yeah, it was real basic stuff. Again, I had always been trained in healthcare. I could save your life, but when it came to anything in the business world, I was naive to it. So I kind of, and you have to do one-on-one meetings. So I learned a lot about different professional attorneys behave, and CPAs, and marketing guys, and so forth and so on. And then you start taking a lot of different courses. Actually, here we took courses. To be able to just grow overall entrepreneurial mindset and the courses that they offered, just dealing with people, farming over hunting, understanding those principles, because you get into BNI and you want the leads right away.
Of course.
That microwave mentality. Well, why aren't people giving me leads? I've been here 2 months.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to want to give you their biggest client if they don't trust you. They don't know what you bring to the table. Learning those principles took a while, in the beginning, you're just like, man, what am I doing wrong? And then when I started coming to the courses and I'm just training you on how to just build a relationship and what people are looking for and all of that, it really resonated with me. And I carry that with me now, where when I talk to somebody, talking to bigger clients that have, multiple locations, and I lead with that. I say, listen, I don't even want all your business right now. I want to start with one location. And I want you to like me. I want us to like each other. I want it to be a good business working relationship. And once we got it all figured out, we'll just cookie cutter the rest of the process. But where in the beginning, I said, give me all 15, 20 locations, kind of, as a rookie, not understanding that can create all types of massive problems that could lead you to losing the deal.
Yeah.
Again, I apply that principle here. So let me farm this. Let me work this out. Let me work out the kinks. It's a two-way street. We're getting to know each other. Are we a good business relationship for each other? And then you can apply that and cookie cutter the process. And not just applying those principles have been huge, man, huge. It goes a long way. And you look like more of a professional anyway.
110%. You know what? This reminds me of the story you told me the other day. You remember you told me when you were like really green and just starting out, and you went to and someone referred you to Sedano's.
Yes, man.
Tell the story. Tell the story.
so I'm probably, I don't know, 2 weeks into the industry. I leveraged. It worked out, even though we didn't land the deal. You know,
green as a $20 bill, bro.
Yes, brother. It worked out because I was able to use it as leverage to get
right.
to get paid more. So I initially got into the industry. It's funny because obviously I came from the MLM world, and when I meet with the gentleman presenting to me, which is my partner today, presenting to me the industry, he presented to me and says, "We're meeting at Starbucks of all places." That's kind of where you meet from
the mobile office.
The mobile office for most MLMers, and he's presenting to me, and I said, "Well, it's all said and done." I said, "All right, what I got to pay you to get in?" So I got offended.
Right.
He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to pay you something to get in." He's like, "Bro, this is a career, bro. This is not no pyramid scheme, whatever." So I'm like, "All right, dude, relax."
That's funny.
So I told him, I said these exact words. I said, "You telling me this is free?" And he says, "Bro, again, this is a career." And I go, "Bro, I'm gonna kill this. Don't worry about it." Because I had come with that mentality from just go, right? He wasn't used to that kind of. Those kind of, I think the highest number as far as applications and deals I had gotten was like 8 or 9. That was like a consistent good month. And I go, "Bro, I'm gonna kill that. Don't worry about it." So I didn't, so he's talking to me about splits and percentages. And he's like, "Look, I'm gonna start you at this percentage." And I go, "Can I get more?" And he's like, "Bro, that's more than fair to start. You're inexperienced. I got to do a lot of your work." I'm like, "All right." So about 10 days later, I was able to strike a deal with Sedano's, through one connection or another. And I give him a call and I said, "Listen, man, one thing or another." And I said, "Listen, I got to sit down with Sedano's." So he kind of didn't hear. He's like, he keeps talking, and he goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, I got to sit down with Sedano's." And I go, "And I want to renegotiate." So he's like, "Oh." And I basically was holding the meeting hostage to renegotiate. So needless to say, we made our Starbucks. I got the percentage that I wanted to start with the ability to tier up. And we went and we sit down with Sedano's. And it was a strong deal. I thought that we were going to get the deal based on the numbers we were presenting, but it just wasn't enough to move the needle for them based on the amount of work that they were going to have to do for us to implement. I was talking about 43 stores at the time for us to implement new point of sale across the board. The savings were in the multiple 6 figures, but it still didn't make sense, return on investment as far as time goes and whatnot. So, but I learned a lot. It was sales is a roller coaster ride, specifically this industry, because that would have propelled me to new heights, to say the least. But that's the way it turned out. It was a good learning experience.
What was it that the guy told you? He was like, "Listen, bro, last year we did $400 million."
Something like that, man. It was just crazy.
Last year we did $400 million, bro. You think we care about 300 grand?
Basically, not in so many words.
That's crazy, bro.
So again, it was a hard lesson learned because I thought, man, this is a done deal.
Right.
And to see how the numbers fit at such a high level was a big wake up call for me. So you kind of need to go through that, especially to get to the bigger deals. It's happened to me already a few times. Big deals have a long sales cycle, so a lot can happen. A lot of decision makers. So I don't ride the roller coaster, or I try not to at least. I try to stay even keel. Get a big account, lose a big account, try to stay even keel. It's hard sometimes, but I've gotten better at it. I don't go through months of depression anymore.
Bro, it's that's a common mistake that everybody, whether you're in sales and business, you ride that and up and down and up and down and up. And
especially when you really need it,
It's terrible. And it always falls through when you're like hurting. When you have money and it always works out, right? I got a fat check this month. Oh, I got another one. And then when you're flat broke, it's like, no.
That's when they're about, the thing is that, the moon, the way that it moves, and then, I'm sorry, you lost the deal.
Bro, so, terrible.
Yeah, what are you going to do, man? That's something I teach my guys now. I said, don't ride the roller coaster or try not to. And it's hard, man. You got to kind of earn your bones, It just comes with the territory. Sales and this kind of industry specifically, where you're in this industry, you're one account away from retirement. You never know. You might get to a chain of this or a chain of that, and it could pay you tens of thousands of dollars on a residual basis. Once you land a big deal like that, the chances of them switching off you are pretty slim. I mean, it may take many, many years. So, you land a big deal like that, you just made yourself several $1 million over a span of 10, 15 years. Who knows? By then you probably sold your book of business as it is anyway. So, that's the idea, man. You're always searching for that one. That's why the roller coaster drop is.
Man, with sharp turns.
Oh yeah.
I think it's really interesting, right? Like when you think about So there's levels. However, at any given moment, as long as you're consistent, like your life can completely change. You know,
consistency is the key, brother. Again, sales, and I've learned, is a numbers game. Eventually, you will. It's not if you make money; it's how much and how fast, especially in this industry. That's entirely dependent on the person. That's why I tell you, persistence is key. Determination is key. Just keep at it. So keep at it, and you'll see results. You know, and then as you improve in your skill set, you know, your closing ratio increases, relationships, the bigger deals. It comes natural with as you grow in knowledge, and just overall experience. You just start getting the big. And again, by the time, if you're doing the right, taking the right steps, your daily method, you build that sales pipeline, and eventually you start getting leads and deals without having to do much. On top of what you're doing, you obviously strategizing for future deals. You're landing 3 to 5 to 10 deals without having to do much, and that's beautiful because now it's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, man.
And you're always just trying to fix that, you know, and that's it.
It's always so. I think you remember this. Life is kind of like a pendulum, right? And you can't, for whatever reason, you can't force the pendulum to swing on the side of success. However, you can really force it to go on the side of failure. You can talk to as many people as you want, and you're going to get a lot of no's. You can make as many phone calls as you want, and a lot of people aren't going to answer the phone. You're going to send a lot of emails. No one's going to answer, right? And what you notice is the more you shove the pendulum on the side of failure, like the more you're willing to fail, the harder you're willing to work, the more uncomfortable you're willing to get. When the pendulum, whenever that is, it decides to swing the other way, it's massive, man.
Brother, that's massive. Well said. I don't think I've heard that analogy before.
Yeah, bro.
That's well said. You know, it's a very good way of saying that. And it's, you know, and expect it to come back. You know, so
and as hard failure. And like as hard as it was to push it, and that's how hard it's gonna come the other way. And oh my god, wow, yeah, man.
And that's what the seasons apply, I guess, too. Because you'll see success, and then you'll see failure and success, and learning how to manage that, and I guess damage control, also setting yourself right. But that's stuff that you learn throughout the time. One of the things, it's funny you say that. One of the things in this industry, you go through seasons, you know. You go through high season, low season, depending on the industries that you go after. And my first successful year, I didn't prepare myself for down season, you know. So based on the industries that I was going after, the majority of my book was made of these industries. When down season hit, I wasn't prepared for that. So I took like a 30 or 40% pay cut in the residual, and it was difficult to manage. Obviously, something that you learned, you know, which, you know, my partner had kind of talked about, but I was just so excited to be making money, especially passive, that, you know, I didn't really listen, you know, and I kind of did, but I didn't prepare for it. So I hit hard, and that's just part of it, brother. You know, dealing with that and maturing in that aspect.
There's a story that Darren Hardy tells, and it was I don't know how long, I think it was in The Compound Effect, where he says he realized that he couldn't control success, but he could control failure. So he had this little notebook pad, and he had 50 check boxes. He was in real estate. He was a real estate agent. And every day, he had to talk to 50 people. 50 people, bro. That's a lot, bro. So he was like, one day I would park at the end of a block and knock on every door. And if I got a yes, it didn't count. It had to be a no. So if someone was like, yeah, you know what, come in, come have some coffee, I would hate it because I had to sit there for an hour and close a deal, which was good, but like I wasn't closer to my goal. My goal was 50 no's. You know, he's like, man, I had dogs chase me. One time I got caught in the rain. Imagine we wear suits, you know. He's like getting rained on in a suit walking down the block. He's all kinds of crazy stuff happened to him, but until he didn't finish checking off the 50 no's for the day, he couldn't go home.
Determination.
And it was, he said, funny enough, you know, more people listed with me and more for sale by owners wanted to sell with me and more this and more this and more this. And at age like 22 or 23, he was the number one real estate agent in the state.
Yeah, wow. Determination.
And it's and it's all because he was like, you know what, bro?
This is my goal.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Yeah, man. No doubt. And it's all about the law of averages, like a closing ratio, like you said.
It is. It really is, man. I mean, the more work you put in, the more results. And it's just putting the work in.
Yeah, more than anything, bro.
It seems to be the common denominator. You know,
you have to like trick yourself to like doing the tedious like tasks that no one likes to do. You know, that Mike Tyson says it best. Discipline is doing the things you hate like you love them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well said. I've heard that one before, and that's. Let me tell you. Sometimes I fall into wanting to spare some of my new guys from that, and I have to really sit back and analyze that, especially at moments like this where you're like, man, That's what prepares you for the future in sales. You know, you kind of, especially new guys that don't have much sales experience, where you see potential and they kind of want to make this work, but you kind of got to let them hit the wall and let them make the mistakes so that they can harden up for it. Where if you shield them and spare them too much from the disappointments,
they're not going to toughen up.
Yeah, they're not going to toughen up, and you run the risk of losing them anyway. You know, so little cliches like you can lead a horse to water, you can make them drink. Little things like that, they really do. They make a lot of sense
they do, man.
When you really start to analyze them. So you got to kind of let guys fail and make mistakes and really see what it's like to be able to prepare them for longevity.
Yeah,
in sales, period, just sales. But this industry, man, listen, I've seen a lot of, and I've had the blessing to be able to meet with, again, I service other businesses. So I've seen dentists and I've seen mechanics and I've seen all types of, nightclubs, you name it. I service the industry and I've seen what it takes, all sales all the time, but just salesmen per se and W-2 guys or whatever the case. It's a hard industry, man, because it's all, especially, it depends on what office you were bored with, but this is all commission-based, So it takes a special individual to dive in and say, all right, I'm gonna plant my flag here and get it done. I'm just going to get it done, no matter what it takes, no matter what struggles I got to go through. It was tough, man, in the beginning to really do that and have very little saved up to have that cushion, that cushion to be able to, all right, it's going to take me at least 6 months to see some sort of significant income to cover my bills. If you don't produce in those 6 months, what are you going to do the next 6 months? Yeah. Because it takes about 45 days for you start to see a check from any business anyway. They got to process 30 days. And then, so, man, being able to put in enough deals that stay with you, that stay processing, that have significant volume, on good rates, all of that good stuff, all the variables that got to kind of come into play for you to see, good income or enough income to sustain yourself. It's difficult, man. So it's a great industry, but it's a tough one to really make yourself successful if you don't do things right.
For sure.
If you don't stay determined.
Man.
If you just hang it up after making a few calls, you're not going to last long.
What I love about sales and entrepreneurship is that it really it's almost like a mirror. Like you really see your imperfections. You really see how you react in really bad situations and in really good situations too. It exposes who you are as a person to your core. And most people, instead of getting that imperfection and being like, all right, this is where I'm weak. You know what? I can work on this. Let me get better. A lot of people just quit. They're like, they can't take it that's the truth and it's in their face.
Oh, yeah. Especially the rejection that comes from it.
No. So, for example, you try to close a big deal. It falls through. Like the guy tells you to go, fuck yourself or whatever. And like your immediate reaction is to get sad and like and then like some people can't take that. That's how they reacted. It's like, oh my God, like that's how, you know what I mean? Like,
well, there's two things that are happening there. If you're dealing with somebody that's used to succeeding at what they do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then they come like when I was in healthcare, I graduated top of my class and I was always director, nurse. And when I come over to start doing sales, and I saw how difficult it was, especially the kind of sales we did, where this is the second piece of it, where they give you that favor approach, right? Where you're relying on your network and people and then you go to someone that right? And you think you're close to, and you start asking them to help you or give you their financials or let you kind of take a sneak peek at their life or their business, and you get that hard no. It's dealing with that rejection specifically. It's dealing with rejection from a stranger. It's already rejection, already sucks, but it's rejection from a stranger.
Right.
But rejection from someone
from mom or dad or grandma, bro.
Yeah, anybody that you consider close, dude, that's
hard.
A different type of rejection. You know? And that's that one piece right there. So you got the people that are used to being successful where they're at, and they come over and they strike out a few times, and it's just they can't deal with that because they can't expose themselves to be bad at something long enough to get good at it.
Yeah, bro.
You got those people, and then you have the people that just they don't know that piece where like nobody can prepare you for rejection from somebody you consider close. Yeah. And somebody you thought had your back
100%
to a certain extent. So that's that piece right there.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I've seen this a few times on Instagram and Facebook, and I always repost it when I see it. It says. It's the post. It shows the post of like someone saying, "Oh, I just got a job," and then all the people congratulating. "Oh, congratulations! Oh, you got a job." hey, guys, I just opened my first business. If you could come through and support, I'm a plumber.
Good luck.
Crickets, bro. Crickets. Nobody gives a flying rat's ass, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
It's crazy.
You're right.
And I think it's wild how when we're programmed to congratulate somebody that is wanting to go work for somebody else and be safe, and we don't want to support someone who's taking a risk, who's putting it all out there. Like, and most people, I don't have kids and I'm not married yet, but it's like you had kids, you were married, bro. Like, you know what it is for someone to put it all on the line to chase a dream for their family, and then everyone is just like,
brother. Let me tell you, I had just, just to kind of give you the backstory, I think we talked about this a bit. I was coming off of, wound care specialist, wound care, any kind of wound care, post-surgical wound ulcers, that kind of thing. I was a specialist in that. I had a team of nurses, something very similar to a home health agency. And my team would be treating, a specific insurance plan, and they would go and see these. And I was very successful, man. I was successful enough to buy my first house. I'm 27, 28, right around the Obamacare. Obamacare, I had that contract, right? Obamacare gets implemented, I lose my contract the same month that I close on my house. My wife worked for me. So she had zero income, I had zero income. A lot of my money that I had was used to get into the house and fix the stuff that I had. It was going through foreclosure. I had a lot of stuff that needed to be fixed anyway. So I had like $5,000 in the bank, $5K, and kind of nothing to fall back on. They wanted to pay half of what they were paying, as a nurse. So I was just, I wanted nothing to do with the industry anymore. It was like one of those. So I said, man, let me give this merchant services a shot, right? We had learned about it in MLM, and I knew it could be something that's great, something that can be passive income, something I'm looking for. Because as a nurse, I was making six figures, good money, but still was working for somebody. Even though I had my company to go back to working for somebody, I had gotten the taste of what it was to business ownership and passive income. And I wanted to replicate that.
Of course.
So coincidentally, when I was 23, I tried to open a medical supply company. And, I needed a merchant account. So my partner today is the one who set me up with my merchant account, right? So I asked him, how do you make money? And we talked about this. How do you make money? And he says, well, I make a little piece every time you swipe. I'm like, man, that's interesting. So it always stayed with me, right? And then I learned about it again. I get re-exposed to it again in MLM. I'm like, man, this is awesome industry. Needless to say, make a long story short, I give him a call once I lose my business. I'm like, man, let's sit down. We went through the whole thing, the whole shebang. And man, that opened up a whole new chapter for me. But like I told you in the beginning, it takes a while to build. So I'm like, man, how do I get this done? I'm like, you know what? I'm the type, I don't want to half-ass anything. I just dove in. I said, I want full-time, right? And moved into my house. I'm like, I'm going to buy furniture when I get in. No furniture. I didn't have cookware, nothing. I was sleeping on the floor. Okay?
Crazy.
With a 24-inch TV on milk crates. That's how I got by. The first year and a half, 2 years that I was there. Yeah, so but I kept myself uncomfortable. I kept my bed uncomfortable. I kept myself that way. Just kind of, I'm just going to deal with this, and that was motivation, because I'd wake up on that lumpy bed, and let's get up, let's grind. So my first month of really diving into the industry, I put in 32 accounts. I broke a record. I knew barely anything about the industry, but I knew that I was better. And I just sold off passion. People can see it in me. Out of the 32, 28 stuck. The others weren't approved by underwriting. Those 28 billed me about
that's like one a day, man. That's a lot.
Brother, let me tell you. If I slept 4 hours that month, it was too much. Yeah, man. There's nothing like the chance of losing your house and not being able to feed your child or yourself as motivation.
Sometimes when you burn the boats, you got nowhere to go.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, fast forward, I learned a lot about myself. Those couple of months that I was really like, all right, what am I going to do here? How am I going to figure this out? But, man, God is good, man. Doors opened up, and I knew it was the industry because I saw success, immediate success, but still. It built me about a $2,000 residual. My mortgage was about to reach my mortgage. I mentioned the cars and all the bills and all of that. So, yeah, man, it was tough, to say the least. But here we are, perseverance. So
definitely.
Making it happen.
That reminds me, staying uncomfortable reminds me of Mike Tyson. I like fighting. I was an amateur fighter for a little while. Mike Tyson, he used to walk out with no socks, with the short shorts, no robe, just walking out like
I think
raw.
He had the towel, right?
With a towel.
Everybody had the fancy things. He was just,
Yeah. He walked out raw. And Mike Tyson said, I kept myself uncomfortable. Like, I kept myself like in that kind of grimy mindset because I wanted to stay hungry, And then he said, I'd walk in there with no socks, with the short shorts and a towel around my head, and I look in the guy in the eye, and as soon as he looked away from my eye, I knew I had him. And it was like, yeah, this guy who has, dirty shoes on, and this guy's gonna beat you. It's crazy.
This savage right here.
It's a bite. Yeah, man.
It's a bite.
Yo, no, and it makes sense. You got to keep yourself in that mindset. When your back is against the wall, what's that old saying? When a tiger's backed up into a corner, that's when he's the most dangerous. Because when
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because when you got him cornered and you're about to kill him, that's when they're gonna go all out. Because it's like, all right, I'm gonna die anyway, but you're gonna have to
Yeah, that's it. It's all on the line now.
Hey, you can come for me because I'm gonna throw everything I got at you. You know.
There you go.
Yeah, man. It's I've been in those situations. I'll tell you a pretty crazy story. So we had a convention in Phoenix, Arizona.
Little convention.
Yeah. And convention time came around, and we were all broke, and we had this hookup who bought flights, right? This hookup, ya tú sabes.
Yeah.
The guy got everybody's money and changed his phone number, disappeared. Yeah. He had like $5,000 from it, but se fue. I had enough money left to buy a one-way ticket.
Wow. Figure it out.
And I didn't bat an eye. I bought the one-way ticket, and I went to Phoenix. I had no clue how I was getting to Miami. I had no money for food. I had no money for a hotel, nothing. Wow. Brother, a week later, I was back in Miami.
Me too.
I ended up I went to the convention, everything. I stayed in a hotel. I found somebody who let me stay on the floor. I told them what happened. They were like, bro, I'm not going to stay in the hotel room. I had a hotel room. The food, I don't even remember what happened. I think like somebody owed me money and they hit me up while I was over there. And hey, look, here's the money I owe you. And I ended up like getting money out of nowhere, enough for the food for the weekend. And then on the ride back, I found somebody who had space in their car. And I drove all the way back to Phoenix, bro.
Wow, bro.
I'm saying from Phoenix to Miami.
Yeah. Wow,
bro,
that's awesome stuff.
Sheer determination.
Yes, bro. Sure will.
I'm there with you, man. And I was like, it's crazy because it's like when you're in that mindset of it's gonna get done, I'm not even worried about it. I'll be back in Miami in a few days. It'll happen. Hey, mira, I was home. I'll never forget it. It was Sunday night. Convention ended. It took us 36 hours to get back to Miami, so I was back in Miami like Tuesday night.
Brother.
And I was walking in my front door with my backpack, and I was like, I told you.
Get it done. That's awesome, bro. That's an awesome story.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the type of grind, the hustle that you learn over there, where you're just like, all right, I'll figure it out. I'm going to dive in.
Yeah, bro.
And I think having learned that is what made me dive into this industry because the old me before that probably would have been a little more cautious.
Right.
And like, oh, but man, I can't sustain that. I don't have the cushion, and I maybe wouldn't have dove in. But kind of just learning that. That's the one thing. Even though it has all the holes you can punch in it and that kind of industry and that company specifically, you just learn what it is to, So one thing that I love Max for, and I love learning that the hustle that you got to put in to be successful.
Yeah.
That kind of determination, that kind of grind. It's ballsy, man, to just say, you know what, I'll figure it out. I don't got any way to get back. I don't know where to sleep, know where to eat. That's ballsy to just say, bro, I'm just gonna get it done, bro. That's to dive in like that. And I'll figure it out. That's huge. Because you know what? Like you said, if it's all on the line, you figure it out.
You're gonna make it happen.
You'll make it happen.
I drove to California twice for those conventions. Drove back and forth. From Miami to San Jose, California. That's a 49-hour drive. I did it twice. To Phoenix, I pulled that stunt. No, I'll tell you the stories of what I did to go to those conventions, bro. And
let me tell you, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to reconnect with you, because I always saw that. I remember I was always watching. I always saw you back when we first, started to know each other. I always saw you were, the main cheerleader, the guy there, just like with that determination. I sensed that in you. So it's why, and you put in the messages when I first reached out to you, man, I'm just seeing this. I'm not on Facebook. I sent you a message like 2 years ago, like, hey, man, let's connect. And you popped up on the feed again, and just, hey, this is the grind that it takes, da, da, da. And I was like, man, I love that. Let me reach out to them. And then now we're here, So, but you always had that drive, that hustle. It's it's inspirational, really.
Let me guess. Was it the video like a month ago when my car broke down?
No, you were just leaving the dealership.
Yeah.
It was 9 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still grinding. This is why I'm number one here, and something along those lines. So, and then you see that. Let me tell you, that's an anomaly, brother. I've sat down with, I want to say, over 1,000 guys over this last 10 years I've been in the industry.
Wow.
Yeah, easily over 1,000 guys. just kind of, and you got people, man, that, I had this one guy, I presented the industry to him. The guy right there opened the corporation. Like, I'm ready to do this.
Wow.
And it's crickets, It's just, so, yeah, and that happens a lot,
Yeah,
so, people who want to really hustle are an anomaly, dude. Like, even these guys that come out, with these, the guys you were just talking about now, My 5 Life, whatever the case.
Bro.
Those facade, bro. You see that a lot, and you see these guys aren't really doing anything, significant. Some of them are, but I would dare to say that the majority are not. They're just kind of putting on the facade and preying on the people who want to send the money for a course or whatever.
Yeah, bro.
But you don't find people that want to grind, that want to hustle, and it's baffling to me that people just are complacent. They're okay with the lifestyle they live in. Not that money's anything, but man, it makes everything a whole lot easier. You can provide for your family. You can live life the way it's supposed to be lived, I should say. Yeah. And again, finding people who have that hustle, that drive, is an anomaly, bro. It doesn't happen. That kind of drive, that kind of hustle, like that'll put it in, that'll get on a flight one way, figure it out. That doesn't happen often. So, congratulations to you. Kudos to you, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We're a rare breed.
Yeah, no,
we're a rare breed. Extinction is upon us. Let me tell you, bro. I wasn't born like this. Most people meet me and they think like that I was just born this motivated guy. I was a really shy kid.
Yeah.
I had a shell and I didn't talk much. I kind of grew into my shell when I was finishing high school, I would say, is when I started to become a fraction of this Nelson.
Right.
And then when we went into direct sales, forget it.
That's what it was. That popped up on the lid. That's how I feel.
That opened up the shell and it like, metamorphosis.
Yeah, you don't need that in healthcare is what I'm trying to tell you, man. You don't. It's not something that you deal with. You're a people person. You deal with that, and you like to get the same thing. So I think you're fresh out of high school, like you said, when you joined.
18 years old.
That's huge, man. That's huge. I was already in my 20s, but again, imagine fresh out of high school, you don't know what you're doing, man. Especially going to do the type of sales that we were doing. That's difficult, man. Try to get people who are unmotivated, don't know what they're doing. To even invest the money and then put the hustle. Not only invest the money, then the hustle starts. So put that kind of hustle in and get bro. Your success is dependent on other people that don't really want to do it. That's tough, man. It's tough.
I think I just think back to those days where I slept on the concrete at 3 a.m. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So for some context for the audience, we used to go to these conventions and I used to be the first one. I used to sleep outside the stadium, like outside the arena entrance, to save a spot for the team so we could sit in the front row. So I used to, instead of going back to the hotel that night with the team, I'd go there and I'd sleep there till like 3 or 4 a.m. until somebody got there. And then I would go leave and take a shower and come back and go to the convention.
Let me piggyback on that. Not go back to the hotel. Go back to eat, and because people would go to that, and 95, I would say 99% of the people, not that they didn't take it serious, but they saw it as this party atmosphere.
Yeah, they have a good time.
Go drink, go eat.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but
no
that's
doubt.
not why you're here,
No doubt. Like at the end of the day, you're still doing it on your own dime. Number one, number two, you're there. Like most people going out drinking, and like you got to be up early the next day to go learn, and educate yourself and progress your business. And people weren't. And you're not going out. You're sleeping on the paint for everybody else. That level of sacrifice. That's you don't find a rare breed.
And let me tell you, I remember this one day. It's actually when Carlos got promoted.
Oh wow!
I'll never forget it.
Okay, I was there at that convention.
Freezing. You know what freezing is?
Yeah, I was there.
Bro?
It was snowing, bro.
It was cold.
It was snowing.
And that day, I'll never forget it. Like it started raining a little bit, and I was all by myself, and I was sitting, and I was looking up, and I was like, "Today's gonna be a great day, bro." Getting poured on. I was getting poured on, and I looked up, and I was like, "Today's gonna be a great day." And mira, that's the day Carlos got promoted. It's, oh man. I tell people, the only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude, bro.
Oof, preach.
No, tell me.
Preach.
Like when things. So I work in car sales now, right? I work for Cadillac. Guess who the number one guy at Cadillac is, right? Entonces, like the average month somebody will have, because I work in a different department, so I just work over the phone, and we get paid when people show up, right? So the average amount of people you have show up in a month is 40, 50, 60. I had 114 last month. You know what I mean? Wow. And for me to come into that industry, coming from where I come from, is like, bro, this is cake.
It's cake, exactly.
They tried to hand me a script, and they were like,
you see what I'm saying?
No. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I got the paper, and I was like, bro.
Yes, boot camp, bro. MLM, especially in that team. That's why, Max killed it, bro.
Yeah,
man. It's like boot camp, bro. It's boot camp, and I give my brother all the praise for this. Remember, I told you this story. My brother, when I was like kind of sold out to it, like all right, because everybody goes through that period, like maybe this is gonna be, and then you start to notice it for what it is. But that first couple of months where I was like approaching everybody and kind of going through the game plan, right? All right, this is the game plan to be successful. Follow it. So I said, all right, let me do that. So I approached my brother. My brother's very successful, and I said, man, look, I got this thing, and he's like, look, man. Don't expect me to do this, whatever the case, obviously. And he's like, this is not something that you're going to do for the rest of your life. Obviously, at that point, you're like, yeah, man, what are you talking about? This could be the answer. And he's like, no, but this is going to set you up for what you're going to do next. What do you do next? In life. And I didn't quite, understand that at the time, or that didn't really resonate with me at the time. I didn't value it like that. Until probably a few years back when I brought it up at his house. Remember? He had forgotten about these. Like, I told you, I was like, that's great advice, wasn't it?
I gave you good advice.
I'm like, yeah, it sure was. Remember that, man? That was like a moment, I was like, but it sure was. It literally learned everything, just how to deal with life too, man. It's because now I can apply that same drive for everything. Working on your marriage, anything takes determination.
It's universal. Like success is universal. The same principles you would apply in sales and business and finances, it's the same thing in a marriage, it's the same thing in working out and getting fit. Like, it's all work ethic, consistency,
no doubt.
Effort. It's all the same things. It's all the same principles.
And I hate to put it this way, but everything is a sale, man. Everybody all day long is selling something, I hate to use that cliche, but it really is.
It's the truth, man.
Like that, you're either buying something or you're selling something. It doesn't have to be a product per se, you're buying or you're selling something. So learning how to apply sales across the board, not that you want to sit there and sell anybody, but you got to present, a strong argument if you want to get your way in something, and that's really what sales is. I'm presenting an argument to you about why you should have my service or buy my product. And that's really what it boils down to. So you can apply that principle across the board to anything, and not that you necessarily want to get your way, but most people want to get their way.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Whether it's right or wrong, at the end of the day, you're still trying to, push so the cards lead your way. That's the idea. But yeah, man. I mean, I want to say I'm blessed to have got into this industry or sales in general. I think I was born for it. Born to be a sales leader. President of sales where I'm at. I'm also part owner, like I said. And yeah, man, I'm just blessed to be able to do what I'm doing and having connected with you. And and now we're here. So.
This is a big part of the show that I'm finding out now. Like, doing this podcast, I'm able to reconnect with a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while, and we're able to kind of like catch up and remind ourselves of why we're friends or why we know each other, the things that matter to us in life. You know what I mean? So.
And relive those days.
Yeah,
relive those days because I know we keep talking about it a lot, but it was those days were monumental for us, man, because they made a lot of people. Some people kind of squandered the opportunity, but I like to say you and I took advantage of what you're supposed to learn there, because we took it real serious. Some people were in there just to kind of fly by night. Turnover rate was crazy, but the people who really stuck around and applied that, people like Carlos and Carlo and Dairo and Carl and all the guys applied it to a new profession, have really seen success. Again, all the principles you learn there, how difficult it is. I call it boot camp. I call it sales boot camp, and that's really what it was.
Yeah, bro.
Because there's sales, the sales training that you can get, but that type of sales, specifically that type of sales, it's a whole different monster, man. It's a whole different monster. I forgot who it was that said it. He's an author and a pastor, John Maxwell. Yeah, it was John Maxwell that said that, getting into direct marketing or multi-level marketing was one of the most difficult things he'd ever had to do in his life, that he ever had to do, because here he is having to convince people that, have this employee mindset, how to think like an entrepreneur, and how to, because your success is dependent on you. There's nobody's going to come help you. You gotta do it on your own. You got your upline to kind of help you, but for the most part, you're on your own. They kind of give you that little head start, and they're like, all right, go figure it out, kind of thing. And it's a hard reality, because as an employee, it's in their best interest to get you trained, to do the job. They're paying you an hourly wage, so they're there to train you. When nobody's paying you here. You're on your own dime. You gotta figure it out. Learn the product. Plug to the trainings if you want. Nobody cares if you show up or don't, for the most part. So your success is entirely dependent on you. And because that's the case, you see a lot of people fail. So it's really what it is, man.
Yeah, man.
Really what it is.
It's definitely For me, it was the start of my entire life.
Yeah.
It started all my close friends, the books I read, even
Set the tone for you.
yeah, man.
for life.
My entire life, everything.
I believe it, man. I believe it. I get it. Coming straight out of high school, and then of course seeing you. You know, when you shot that video recently, I said, man, that you're a guy who really took those principles and applied it to where you're at. I immediately thought that. I said, man, this is a guy who took those principles and applied it where he's at. And look, you're doubling the numbers that are average. That's huge.
No,
you don't find that often.
You wanna laugh? So I have my team lead. His name is Alejandro. By the way, everyone's younger than me. I'm the oldest guy there. I'm 30 years old. I'm not old, but whatever. You know how it is. Sales always they hire young people. My team lead's like, Nelson, can I tell you something, bro? Like, yeah, whatever. Bro, I used to pray to hire somebody like you. And I told him, aguántate. You haven't seen anything yet, bro. This was my first month. Wait till Christmas comes around and people want to start buying cars. And I'm gonna do.
Your pitch gets better. You're more confident with the product.
Yeah, of course,
that's crazy. Your first month you did it like that. That's huge.
First
brother.
month, bro. Like it's gotten to the point where because the director walks around trying to like encourage people, help people who need help or whatever that are on the phone, and she's like, everyone's doing pathetic today.
Except
your numbers, no. And then I look at her and she's like, bro, you know you don't count. You don't count. This isn't about you.
Except Nelson, guys. Let's give it up for Nelson. He's the one carrying everybody on his back.
Imagine the director's 22 years old. She's super young.
That's awesome, bro.
You know, so it's like, yeah, you're my boss, but you know,
pretty soon.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
and it's just about wanting it, man. Like people approach me at work. How are you doing this? Because Cadillac is considered a low volume store, so there's people on my floor that work for Volkswagen or Honda. So obviously it's a higher volume product. More people buy Honda than Cadillac. That's just the luxury versus like regular, right? So a kid that sits behind me that sells Volkswagen, he's doing like half my numbers. So he's like, bro, I don't understand. Like, how are you so good? And I tell him, you want to know why? At what time do you leave? No, at 5:30 and not I'm out of here. You know what time I left yesterday? I left at 7 o'clock at night, brother.
There you go.
Who wants it more, you or me? Me.
Preach.
I want it more than you. And until you want it more than me, you're not going to beat me.
Nah.
And guess what? You're never going to want it more than me.
Young cat, bro. You know, to find that kind of determination in young cat is hard.
bro.
You got to kind of go through life.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. And it's just, it's going back to what you said. It's that like never being satisfied. I always feel like, all right, I could do one more. All right, one more, for real, one more. Yeah. You know? So.
Until they tell you, hey, Nelson, go home, bro. What are you doing, bro?
That's my goal, bro. For them to be like, bro, we paid you. I wanna break the computer to where like I've had so many people come into the dealership where they're like they have to cut me a check and be like, all right, bro, here's like half of the revenue for the company. Go home. We gotta fix it. Don't come back for a month because we gotta fix the computer.
They're gonna put in new protocols for you. Coño, bro, this guy. Nelson, we love you, bro, but wait, everybody wants to go home. Go home.
Imagine the only person I'm number one in Cadillac and number two in the whole company.
Wow, bro, your first month.
The only person beating me sells Honda. So imagínate, what does that tell you? If I was selling Honda, nobody, you know. So and I tell her all the time. She's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in Cadillac.
I'm coming for you.
Okay, she's super competitive. Yeah. It's a young lady. La tipa competir, and she's good. She's very good. Yeah. But I tell her all the time, like, yeah, I'm in Cadillac. I know I'm never going to beat you. But wait, if they put me in Honda.
Look at my chops, right?
If they put me in Honda.
I'm ready. Coming for you.
Yeah.
No, they'll probably keep you at Cadillac. The numbers in your stay up.
No, they'll never take me off Cadillac because they're
performing like that.
Yeah,
okay.
They'll never want me to leave.
Yeah, want to lose you if he does.
No, never. Wilfredo, this has been a pleasure and an honor. Brother. I usually wrap up all the podcasts the same way, more or less. I ask just a couple questions, and we go from there. So, what, in your personal perspective, what inspires you in your life? What's your source of inspiration?
I would like to say my family, brother. You know, most people would say that my family is what keeps me going. And, you know, makes me wanna succeed, and you know, my family per se, and of course, I give all the glory back to Christ. You know, that's
amen, brother.
That's something that stays near and dear to me. Just my relationship with Christ has grown. It's kind of been synonymous with my success as well. So just seeing growth in Him has also, like I said, I read the book of Proverbs and applied those principles as well. how I view money, how I view relationships, how I view people, how I view business. My perspective has completely changed. So applying the obviously the discipline that we learned, that we talked about, with those new learned principles, and when the time comes, how to handle that in that specific way, I would say it's synonymous. So really those two things. My family gives me the drive, and Christ gives me the direction.
Definitely. There's so for those of you that don't know, he knows because he's read the book of Proverbs. King Solomon is let me give you a little backstory on who this guy is.
Oh.
So God approaches this guy, right? And he tells him, I'll give you whatever you want. And the guy goes, no, God, the only thing I want is wisdom. And because he said he wanted wisdom, God blessed him with everything, right? That guy was worth more money than anyone before him and anyone after him. To give you a perspective, he's in modern days with inflation and things like that, he was worth like $800 billion. Something nuts.
I'll
something
tell you the
crazy.
numbers because I've looked into them extensively.
Something crazy.
Yes. So obviously when he said, I want wisdom, God said, because you have asked this of me, I'll give you, the rich. Everybody could have asked for riches.
Right.
Most people would ask for it. And it said that each year of his reign, he received 20 tons of gold, amassing to about $3.2 trillion in today's money. So God said that nobody before you or nobody after you will ever be richer than you. And yeah, you can take countries and put them together, but I'm talking about
one person.
Yes,
It's crazy.
Net worth. No, I'm talking about actual money and gold. 3.2 or 3.4 trillion dollars. So nobody's ever going to be that rich, dude. I don't care who you are.
Who's the richest guy? I think Elon or Bezos. They're like competing, and they're like at almost 300 billion, like 250,
like
275.
That. And that's not even.
Can you? No, but think about it.
3.2 trillion.
At 100 billion, or like in those numbers already, you're like, bro, I don't even know. Let me tell you how much $1 billion is. You ready for this? If you spend $100,000 a day, it's gonna take you 27 years to spend $1 billion.
$100,000 a day. That's crazy.
That's for 1 billion. Imagínate 3.2 trillion.
No, okay, well, you never spend that, bro.
Yeah,
you can try your hardest to spend it anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not even so much about the money. It's just the amount of. And then again, this guy also had 800 wives, and I mean,
No, abundance.
he kind of went down a path.
Another level of abundance there.
But yes, but it's just the wisdom that he put into that book. Again, we talked about it. You see a lot of people, they borrow from that and they regurgitate that and repackage it in their own way. But again, that drive coupled with this direction and those principles for me equals success. So
Definitely. So, what's next for you?
It's a good question, man. I think this company, sky's the limit. We're positioning ourselves to be a threat. Like I said, we just won an award for up and coming ISO, and this is just the beginning. I have strong partners. We all have, we're all like-minded in where we want to go, and we want to be disruptive. Our partner is called Ireland Pay because our partnership, our brand ambassador is Kathy Ireland, and if you look into Kathy Ireland, she's all about philanthropy. I'm a philanthropist. I love to help. We have a philanthropic approach to the industry. We actually take a percentage of our income and donate back to different foundations. We do that every month. So I think with a company like Kathy Ireland Worldwide and that reach, we can really make an impact. Obviously, we're going to make money, no question. But if this is a $1 trillion industry, we can redirect just 1% of that to people in need. We can really make an impact. So I think that what's next, and my end goal with it all is to one day be talking to somebody who is a complete stranger and tell me, man, this company Ireland Pay has really helped me. Get through school or
Wow.
or whatever the case, some success story, and I don't even want to know who I am, it's something along those lines. So I think that's what's next. It's really putting on a global scale where we can really make an impact. And that's the idea.
That's fantastic, man. So I guess that goes hand in hand with the last question. What's your dream?
That's the dream right there, brother. If I had to coin it, that's my dream, is to really sit down with somebody one day, years from now, and just hear somebody tell me a story about how this company, maybe it's not named Ireland Pay, but who knows, really hear somebody tell me, that they saw some sort of success, something that this company helped them in some significant way. That'll be a dream. If God can give me that, man, that'll be huge. Because I know that I really made it then.
Never.
Because that's the real flex, is being able to help other people reach their goals. Not only so much yours, but what are you doing for everybody else?
Yeah.
And that's the idea.
Going back to Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar's another one that he trained with Zig goes. the more people you help get what they want, the more you'll get what you want, right? So
that's another principle we learned there. That's
yeah, bro.
Huge, bro. Huge.
Big. Wilfredo, te quiero, bro. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure's
This was
all
an
mine,
absolute
brother.
honor to have
Pleasure's
you
all
here in my
mine.
space.
Honor's all mine, brother.
All my guests, I tell them this is a space for people that I admire and respect who are doing big things with their life, who are putting it on the line. And the Montana Mountain, ya tú sabes, you're here.
Love it, brother.
You're
Love
here.
it. Wish you much success.
You're welcome here anytime. This is the beginning of a partnership for sure.
Absolutely, brother.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So
Looking forward to it.
We're gonna talk in the future about doing business together. And who knows? Maybe I'll have a new sponsor soon.
Hecha. Absolutely.
Yeah, bro. Alrighty, guys.
Thank you, bro.
So-
God bless you, bro.
Nelson signing out. Montana Method Podcast. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. To the next one.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.